हे चन्द्रचूडमदनान्तकशूलपाणे स्थाणो गिरिशगिरिजेश महेश शम्भो भूतेश भीतभयसूदन मामनाथम् ॐ नमो भगवते शिवाय श्री अरविन्दाय
अनन्तदेवेश जगन्निवास कमलशयन नमस्तुते सर्वेव सर्व सुखदं शुभदं भवसानम्
Who was Sri Aurobindo? A freedom fighter who shook the British Empire within 5 years. A poet who could give poetic expression to whispers from the heavens. A writer who would have honored the Nobel Prize for Literature if it had been conferred on him. A linguist who raised the level of the English language to that of Sanskrit and deciphered the symbolism of the Veda hidden in Sanskrit as it was in the Vedic period. A yogi who gave the world integral yoga, a powerful synthesis that incorporated the major traditional systems of yoga, and yet beyond all of them, a rishi and a muni rolled in one. Oh, a spiritual master, radical, rational and revolutionary, far ahead of his times, who is today the guru to millions in the world. Sri Aurobindo was all this and more. How can one person be all this? To understand that, let us begin with the beginning. Born in 1872 on the 15th of August in Calcutta and named Aurobindo Ackroyd Ghosh, his mother Swarnalata Devi came from a Brahmo Samaj family. In contrast, his father Dr. Krishnadhan Ghosh was a medical doctor, not only educated in England but also a lover of the British culture. He made all efforts to shield his children from all influences Indian. The result? As a toddler, Aurobindo was looked after by an English nurse, Miss Paget, from whom he picked up speaking English. At age 5, he was studying in Loreto Convent School, a school run by Irish nuns in Darjeeling. And in 1879, when Aurobindo was just 7, he, along with his elder brothers, was left in Manchester in England to be looked after by his father's contacts, William Druitt and his wife. The Druitts were given strict instructions that the boys should not be allowed to make the acquaintance of any Indian or undergo any Indian influence. At age 12, Sri Aurobindo was admitted to St. Paul's School in London, and at age 18, he joined Cambridge, where he continued till age 20. From age 7 through 21, during the 14 years that he spent in England, he gave evidence of his exceptionally bright intellect. He wrote poetry that was published in magazines. He won prizes and scholarships. He mastered the English language better than the British, and also learnt Greek, Latin, French, Italian and Spanish. One of his teachers at Cambridge, Oscar Browning, told him, "I have examined papers at 13 examinations, and I have never, during that time, seen such excellent papers as yours. Sri Aurobindo's father's dream was that his son would return to India and join the Indian civil service. Well, return he did, but with a resolve not to serve the government that had enslaved his country. One who left for England as a child of 7, returned to India a young man of 21, prim and proper, but patriotic to the core. He had decided to drop Ackroyd from his name and call himself Aurobindo Ghosh, or just Aurobindo. He entered India through the Bombay port. Yes, he came by ship because it was 1893, full 10 years before the aeroplane was invented. As if to confirm that he had reached his Karma Bhumi as he set foot on Indian soil, a vast calm descended upon him, which surrounded him and remained for long months afterwards. He headed straight for Baroda, now Vadodara, where the Maharaja of Baroda was waiting for him to give him a teaching job at his college. What did the young Aurobindo Ghosh do in Baroda? He taught English and French in the college. Even more important, he unleashed his fire in the articles that he wrote to galvanize the youth of India to work for the freedom of the country. Still more important, he taught himself Sanskrit and delved deep into the ancient Indian scriptures in their original. This went on for about 12 years. In the meantime, he got married in 1901 to Mrinalini Devi, and the same year travelled with her to Nainital, as if to establish his foothold in the Himalayas. It is believed that Sri Aurobindo and Mrinalini Devi stayed at or very close to Vananivas, the building which now has the Nainital Centre of Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Delhi branch. The brief holiday over, and Sri Aurobindo was back to Baroda. In Baroda, he used to get what was then a princely amount of about rupees 500 a month. Of this, he kept a few rupees for his necessities. The rest was just lying around for anyone in need of money to pick up. The explanation came in a letter that he wrote to his wife on 30th August 1905. I have 3 madnesses. The first one is this. I firmly believe that the accomplishments, genius, higher education and learning and wealth that God has given me are His. I have a right to spend for my own purposes only what is needed for the maintenance of the family and is otherwise absolutely essential. The rest must be returned to God. If I spend everything for myself, for my pleasure and luxury, I am a thief. My second madness has only recently seized me. It is this: by whatever means I must have the direct vision of God. If God exists, there must be some way to experience His existence, to meet Him face to face. My third madness is that I look upon my country as the mother. What would a son do if a demon sat on his mother's breast and started sucking her blood? What a tragic turn of events for the young wife and her parents, who had got her married perhaps in the hope that their daughter would live like a queen with an England-returned professor in a princely mansion in Baroda. And here is the professor defining a thief, seeing God, and talking of his mother's blood. Soon came the time when the professor was fully in the grip of his third madness. In 1905, the British decided to divide Bengal, and the people didn't want it. There was a revolt, and Sri Aurobindo decided to join it. By 1906, he had taken the call to quit Baroda and go to Bengal. But just before he left, he approached a yogi, Vishnu Bhaskar Lele, with a request that he be taught the secrets of those yogic powers by which he could free the country of British rule. And what a disciple he turned out to be. In 3 days, he was in a state of samadhi, experiencing total inner silence, the unmanifest divine. By the time he left Baroda, he had spent about 14 years there. So, for 14 years in England, 14 years in Baroda, both these 14-year periods spent studying, assimilating, and looking critically at two contrasting cultures. The result was a unique synthesis of the East and the West. Sri Aurobindo quit the job at Baroda in 1906 to be openly in the freedom struggle. Apart from a stint as the first principal of the National College in Calcutta from 1906 to 1907, he was now fully immersed in the freedom struggle. In August 1906, Bipin Chandrapal started a weekly, the Bande Mataram. He wanted Sri Aurobindo to join in his venture, to which Sri Aurobindo agreed wholeheartedly. Sri Aurobindo had been deeply impressed by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee's novel Anandamath, in which he discovered the mantra Bande Mataram. Salutation to the Mother, which is what Bande Mataram means, was to Sri Aurobindo the rallying slogan to wake up the children of Mother India to their duty. To Sri Aurobindo, India was not merely a geographical entity or a piece of earth, but a goddess, a mother, who had taken care of its children for millennia, but was now being tortured, plundered, and insulted by foreign rulers. How could he, as a son of Mother India, tolerate it? All the writing for the Bande Mataram was done essentially by Sri Aurobindo. The writing worked wonders. It inspired and mobilized the public, especially the youth, to work for the cause of the country's freedom. The major thrust of the Bande Mataram was twofold. One, to revive the sense of national pride, and two, to provide a blueprint for action. The goal set was nothing short of total freedom, Purna Swaraj. And the key process proposed was non-cooperation with the British government to such an extent that it would become difficult for them to rule us. The non-cooperation proposed by Sri Aurobindo was fivefold. Economic boycott. Don't buy what is made in England. Educational boycott. Don't learn what England wants us to learn. Judicial boycott. Don't enter British courts to get unjust judgments. Executive boycott. Don't obey any unfair rules. And finally, social boycott. Boycott those Indians who don't boycott the rulers, who have no business to rule us. Within a year, he so shook the British Empire that they looked upon him as the most dangerous Indian to deal with, and they started looking for an opportunity to arrest him. The opportunity came soon enough. In 1908, a bomb was thrown in Muzaffarpur at a closed carriage with the intention of killing a magistrate who had been passing drastic sentences against patriots. But instead of the magistrate, in the carriage were two innocent British women who died in the bomb blast. As a follow-up of the incident, just about anybody who could be even remotely connected with the bomb blast was rounded up. And among the 40-odd persons arrested, one was Sri Aurobindo. He was lodged in the Alipore jail, where he spent about 1 year. The 1 year that he spent in jail was one of the most significant periods of his life. It was there that he discovered the mission of his life, as he revealed in some detail soon after his release in a speech that has become famous as the Uttarpada speech, because it was delivered at Uttarpada in Bengal. To cut a long story short, It was in prison that he got over his passionate attachment to the freedom struggle. It was in prison that he realized that there was no dearth of young people of great moral character, exemplary courage, and admirable intellectual caliber to continue the struggle for freedom, and therefore his role in the struggle was not indispensable. It was in prison that he got an experience of the manifest divine in the form of Krishna. He saw Krishna in the trees, in the iron bars of his cell, and in the dirty blanket in which he used to wrap himself up at night. He saw himself protected by Krishna's arms around him. He saw Krishna in the jailers and in the other inmates of the prison. And in the court, he saw Krishna in the judge, in the defense counsel, and in the prosecution counsel. It was in prison that he received from the divine an assurance that the freedom of the country was only a matter of time. And finally, it was in prison that he discovered his true calling, the mission of his life. The mission of his life, he was told by Sri Krishna, was not to work for the political freedom of the country. The mission of his life was to share his wisdom with the world, something that only he could do. The wisdom that he had to share was that embodied in Sanatana Dharma. Sharing that wisdom had two aims. One, to uplift the nation, and two, to take ancient Indian wisdom to the world. Sanatana Dharma, the eternal and universal religion, was to be India's gift to the world, and to present it to the modern world was the second part of the mission with which Sri Krishna entrusted Sri Aurobindo. To avoid any misunderstanding, Sanatana Dharma is not an organized religion, but a sense of right and wrong, which is eternal and universal. A spiritual worldview which gives the individual the freedom to go on a personal spiritual quest if he has any doubts. A practice that does not compel anybody to observe any rituals or conduct any ceremonies. It is this universal spirituality which has both wideness and freedom that is the future of the world. The right time for sharing the ancient Indian wisdom with the world was about to come. And Sri Aurobindo was the instrument uniquely equipped to do it. The time was right, because the West was approaching a point where it would soon be materially saturated but spiritually starved. It was approaching a point where it would realize that while reason had given modern science, reason was grossly inadequate for wiping out the problems of human existence. And it was at this point that the West would start looking for solutions to inequalities and injustice, solutions to cruelty, misery, and suffering. A solution in something higher than reason. And that is when it would turn to ancient Indian wisdom. And to present ancient Indian wisdom in a form that the West would understand, in a form that would be relevant to the modern world, was Sri Aurobindo's mission. So it was to wean Sri Aurobindo away from the freedom struggle and to tell him what he had to do that the divine intervened. The first divine intervention was his imprisonment. The second intervention was to ensure his release after a year. How was his release ensured? Apparently, through two interventions. The first was to get Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das, an eminent lawyer and a patriot, as Sri Aurobindo's defense counsel midway through the trial. Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das gave up all his practice and devoted all his time to this one single case. On top of that, Sri Aurobindo received a message from the divine not to give any instructions to the lawyer. I will instruct him, he was told. So, Sri Aurobindo stopped providing any material to the lawyer. The divine worked through the lawyer's mind to prepare material for the defense. While defending Sri Aurobindo, Deshabandhu Chittaranjan Das made a prophetic statement. Long after the controversy will be hushed in silence, long after this turmoil, this agitation will have ceased. Long after he is dead and gone, he will be looked upon as the poet of patriotism, as the prophet of nationalism and lover of humanity. Long after he is dead and gone, his words will be echoed and re-echoed, not only in India, but across distant seas and lands. The second intervention to ensure Sri Aurobindo's release was something incredible done by the British government. Something really silly from their point of view. The judge that they appointed for this case was one Mr. C.P. Beechcroft, who was Sri Aurobindo's classmate at Cambridge. This was not secret information. It was not impossible for them to find another judge. Couldn't they see that this judge might have a soft corner for Sri Aurobindo, having been his classmate in England? But the divine can make wise people do foolish things to ensure a particular outcome. When this judge sifted through a few hundred pages related to Sri Aurobindo, he came to the conclusion that the evidence was not enough to convict Sri Aurobindo, and therefore he may be released. A conclusion in which some subjective bias of the judge in favor of Sri Aurobindo cannot be ruled out. As was revealed to Sri Aurobindo while he was in jail, God works through those who work for him, and he works also through those who oppose him. The net result was that a year after his arrest, Sri Aurobindo walked free out of the prison. He stayed in prison as long as was necessary for him to discover the mission of his life. Not a day more, not a day less. Why did the divine have to intervene to pull Sri Aurobindo out of the freedom struggle and put him on another path? After all, working for the freedom of the nation was also a noble task. How about the freedom of the country, which Sri Aurobindo wanted so badly? So badly as a son would want to free his mother from a demon who is sucking her blood. How about the freedom that Sri Aurobindo had been promised by the divine? As if to tell Sri Aurobindo, as if to tell the world and the divine had kept its promise. The country became free on Sri Aurobindo's 75th birthday, on the 15th of August 1947. Let's rewind back to May 1906. Sri Aurobindo is just out of prison. He knows he can step out of the freedom struggle secure in the knowledge that the country would be free. He also knows the mission of his life from none other than the divine. Then came another command from the same source: go to Pondicherry. Made sense, because Pondicherry was a French colony and the British could not pursue him as easily there as in India. To go to Pondicherry undetected was not easy, because the British spies were watching him all the time. But again, the divine will prevailed, and he was in Pondicherry on the 4th of April 1910. So you can see how swiftly things moved after the preparation was over. Preparation which included East-West synthesis and two complementary spiritual experiences: the unmanifest divine and the manifest divine. On reaching Pondicherry, Sri Aurobindo went deeper into his sadhana. He had for company a few friends who had been with him in the freedom struggle and had looked upon him as their leader. Now they started looking upon him as their guru. But that did not stop them from being also his friends, just as Arjun was not only a disciple, but also a friend of Krishna. The same year in which Sri Aurobindo reached Pondicherry, yet another chapter in the divine design started unfolding. A Frenchman, Paul Richard, came to Pondicherry in 1910 in connection with election work. He also met Sri Aurobindo and, being duly impressed, asked him whether he could bring his wife to him on his next visit. Sri Aurobindo said yes to him, but added he could bring her after 4 years. Seems strange, but in retrospect, it seems Sri Aurobindo needed those 4 years for uninterrupted inner work. After those 4 years, on the 29th of March 1914, arrived Paul Richard again, this time with his wife, Mira Alfasa. Soon after their arrival, both of them, along with Sri Aurobindo, decided to bring out a monthly journal that would address the deeper questions of existence. And while addressing these issues, it would also synthesize and harmonize diverse religious and spiritual traditions of the world. The journal was named Arya. The first issue of the Arya appeared on Sri Aurobindo's birthday, on the 15th of August in the year 1914. The First World War also started the same year. Therefore, Paul Richard was wanted back in France. Hence, he and Mira left for France a day after Mira's birthday. On the 22nd of February 1915, less than a year after their arrival. The result was that the work of bringing out the Arya fell squarely on the shoulders of Sri Aurobindo alone. And what a marvelous job he did. He brought out month after month 64-page issues of the Arya for more than 6 years. What Sri Aurobindo did in essence was to select a few themes: the Veda, the Upanishads, the Gita, yoga, spiritual philosophy, Indian culture, and the history of the world looked at from a psycho-spiritual point of view. Most issues of the Arya had one article on each of these themes. What was done later on was to dismantle the issues of the Arya and rearrange the articles theme-wise. For example, there were 48 essays related to the Gita published one by one in the Arya. These 48 essays, bound in a single volume, in the same sequence as they appeared in the Arya, gave us a book which was given the title Essays on the Gita. That is how we got also the secret of the Veda, the synthesis of yoga, the life divine, the human cycle, the foundations of Indian culture, and the ideal of human unity, which are amongst the major works of Sri Aurobindo. There is hardly any subject under the sun that Sri Aurobindo did not touch in these books, and he gave everything he touched a unique and timeless spiritual orientation. His books can not only form the basis of enlightened systems of yoga, psychology, education, or medicine, but can also help scientists improve the quality of their research by teaching them how to think rationally and critically. And as pieces of literature, they are sheer delight, no matter how many times one reads and rereads them. In the category of spiritual literature rooted in the Indian tradition, the original of which was written in the English language, Sri Aurobindo's works belong to a class apart, both in quantity and quality. In his works derived from the Arya, Sri Aurobindo has given nothing short of a prescription for sculpting humanity into a new shape that would be beyond recognition. In just 6 years, he has created enough homework for the world for several centuries. How he could do it is not surprising, because of the unique combination that he was. When he started writing the Arya, the preparation was all over. He was full to the brim with the wisdom that he had to share with the world. All that was needed was a trigger. The trigger was provided by the Richards. And once the dam was breached, a tsunami of wisdom started flooding the pages of the Arya month after month. What are Sri Aurobindo's teachings? At the cost of oversimplification, we shall boil them down to 3 essentials. Number 1. Life affirmation. Spirituality does not mean renouncing the world. Spirituality can and should be brought into worldly life. Far from being incompatible with worldly life, spirituality enhances, enriches, and enables worldly life. Number 2. Evolution. Evolution has meant greater expression of the divinity hidden in all creation. Man is the latest, but not the final product of evolution. Since man has the urge and the capacity to evolve, man can collaborate with nature in further evolution and thereby accelerate evolution. Number 3. The vision of a better world in the near future. As man evolves, human nature would change for the better. Instead of being ego-driven, human beings would become love-driven. More love in human lives would make the world a much better place to live in. By the end of 1920, the Arya had completed 6 years of uninterrupted publication, and Sri Aurobindo had started feeling that he had externalized enough, that he had provided all the theory, and that now the time had come for practice. For that, a community was required. With clockwork precision, the Richards came back again on the 24th of April in the year 1920. This time accompanied by a British lady, Dorothy Hodgson, who came to be known as Datta, the name that Sri Aurobindo gave her. After a few months, Paul Richard went back, but the 2 ladies, Meera and Dorothy, stayed back in Pondicherry. Sri Aurobindo stopped writing for the Arya. The last issue was published on the 15th of January 1921. The 2 ladies brought to the community of 5 men the womanly touch of aesthetics and the Western touch of orderliness. Soon the community also started growing. By 1926, it had grown from 5 to about 25. During the 6 years of her stay, Meera had given evidence of her organizational skills and, even more important, of her level of consciousness. This was in spite of her spending most of the time going within. Then came another momentous event. On the 24th of November 1926, Sri Aurobindo had yet one more spiritual realization, and he decided to go into seclusion. He handed over the charge of the small community of about 25 and all the organizational and administrative work related to it to Meera Alfasa. This date, 24th of November 1926, is considered the date on which was founded Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Pondicherry. And Meera Alfasa became Ma Meera and is now the mother to millions in the world. The significance of the ashram was that it became a laboratory to test whether Sri Aurobindo's thesis of bringing spirituality into worldly activity could actually work in the modern world. And who better to do than the mother, who, even before she came to India, had exactly the same spiritual philosophy as Sri Aurobindo. As Sri Aurobindo said, his consciousness and her consciousness were the same. It was a single consciousness, but two bodies. There were two bodies because one body could not have done what the two did. After 1926, Sri Aurobindo concentrated on inner work and the mother on outer work. She developed the ashram, addressed the needs and difficulties of the disciples, answered their questions with infinite patience, developed the systems and discipline to be observed, created one department after another, depending on the need and the unique talents and skills of the people available, and established a school for children in 1943. It was under her care that the number of residents grew from about 25 in 1926 to more than 1,000 in 1973, when she left the body. During this entire period, from 1926 through 1973, she was physically there in Pondicherry. She did not go anywhere for even a single day. In short, the ashram was the creation of the mother. Two spiritual masters as alike as Sri Aurobindo and the mother, and a spiritual collaboration more fruitful than theirs is totally unprecedented in history. It is only in retrospect that one can see the masterly planning of the divine behind embodying these twin souls thousands of miles away from each other, providing them the external circumstances most helpful for the roles they had to play, and then bringing them together at just the right time. What did Sri Aurobindo do after going into seclusion in 1926? A lot that is visible, and still more that is invisible. First, what is visible? Although Sri Aurobindo stopped meeting the disciples and visitors, the disciples could still write a letter to him if they had a question. He received many letters, and he replied to each one of them, sometimes spending as much as 10 hours in a day just on writing letters. All the available letters have now been collected into 4 volumes of letters on yoga. This is a very precious resource because the type of questions seekers had 100 years ago are the questions seekers have even today. And we have in these letters replies from the Master himself in a language that is easy to relate to. The second thing that he did was to complete his epic poem, Savitri. It is believed that he had made some notes regarding Savitri as early as 1901 in Baroda. But if there was a Baroda Savitri, it had disappeared, as he said later. Work on Savitri, as we know it, was initiated in 1916. Then Savitri was put aside during most of the 1920s. Work was resumed around 1930. And by 1945, he had completed a substantial part of it. After 1945, he revised extensively what he had already written and added a lot more. The work on Savitri after 1945 was done by dictating it to Nirodha. Savitri has Sri Aurobindo's as well as the mother's personal yoga, including their spiritual experiences, their vision of a better world, and what is especially important for us ordinary mortals. Savitri also has guidance for what we can do to practice yoga. About Savitri, Raymond Frank Piper, an American scholar, says, "I venture the judgment that it is the most comprehensive, integrated, beautiful, and perfect cosmic poem ever composed. It illumines every important concern of man through verse of unparalleled massiveness, magnificence, and metaphorical brilliance. Savitri is perhaps the most powerful artistic work in the world for expanding man's mind towards the absolute. How we do what we do, and how we respond to the ups and downs of life, all this together is what life is. That is why Sri Aurobindo said, all life is yoga, which means all life is suitable as a field for the practice of yoga. You might be wondering, how about asanas and pranayamas, the postures and breathing practices with which yoga is so commonly identified? Those are techniques for maintaining our equipment, the body and the mind in good shape. That is necessary, but not sufficient. It is even more important to put the equipment to good use. Yoga guides us in putting the equipment to good use. The equipment is used well when we have the yogic attitude to our work. We follow the whispers of our soul to make the right choices in life, and we make good use of the opportunities provided to us by good fortune and misfortune. It is the yogic attitude to life that makes yoga a spiritual discipline, not the techniques that promote physical and mental health. Besides writing thousands of letters in response to questions from disciples and writing Savitri, what else did Sri Aurobindo do during the 24 years that he was in seclusion? Much of the other work that he did was no less important because it was invisible. He kept track of what was going on in the world and intervened with his yogic powers to influence the outcome of the Second World War. Simultaneously, he prepared the Earth's atmosphere for the manifestation of supramental consciousness, a consciousness that would be distinctly higher and different from the mental consciousness, which has been the normal human consciousness so far. Why is the supramental consciousness required? For a world full of love, peace, and joy. So Sri Aurobindo was working silently for all of us, so that the generations to come will get a much better world to live in. By 1950, Sri Aurobindo had done enough towards the fulfillment of his mission. Time had now come for Sri Aurobindo to give up the body, and that he did on 5th of December 1950. But it was not an ordinary body that had been given up. The body had also undergone a transformation, and therefore it was above the ordinary laws of decay and degeneration. In the warm climate of Pondicherry, the body remained fresh till 5 days later, which gave the disciples and devotees from all over the world to come and have a last look at the material envelope of the Master. They came in hundreds of thousands and queued up patiently for one last glimpse. The body was laid to rest in the courtyard of the ashram. For Sri Aurobindo's Samadhi, the mother wrote the following words: "To thee, who hast been the material envelope of our Master, to thee our infinite gratitude. Before thee, who hast done so much for us, who has worked, struggled, suffered, hoped, endured so much, before thee who hast willed all, attempted all, prepared, achieved all for us, before thee we bow down and implore that we may never forget, even for a moment, all we owe to thee." As Sri Aurobindo said in Savitri, a conscious power has drawn the plan of life. There is a meaning in each curve and line. In retrospect, it is easy to see what meaning each curve and line in Sri Aurobindo's life had. If he did not have a father who was an admirer of the British culture, Sri Aurobindo would not have gone to England at age 7. If he had not gone to England and not spent the formative 14 years of his life there, he would not have learnt English so well as to be able to write so much and so beautifully in English. If instead of going to Baroda, he would have jumped into the freedom struggle immediately after returning from England, he would not have got 14 years to study the ancient Indian scriptures to become a unique East-West synthesis. If he had not been arrested soon after entering the freedom struggle, he would not have discovered the mission of his life so soon. If Pondicherry had not been a French colony, it would not have been so easy for Sri Aurobindo to escape the spying eyes of the British. Pondicherry, being a French colony and the mother being born in France, were a part of the divine design to bring the mother to Pondicherry at the right time. One can go on and on like that, but it would be nothing more than an interesting pastime. Sri Aurobindo once wrote to a disciple, "I see that you have persisted in giving a biography. Is it really necessary or useful? The attempt is bound to be a failure, because neither you nor anyone else knows anything at all about my life. It has not been on the surface for man to see." The Master had already warned us. The attempt is bound to be a failure, but still we attempted because we did not mind failing. We are happy to join the long line of those who failed before us. And finally, the Mother has the last word. What Sri Aurobindo represents in the world's history is not a teaching, not even a revelation. It is a decisive action direct from the Supreme.
Sukhanam, Shubhanam, Sukhanam.